All right. So first off, we have our guest, close friend of mine, movie aficionado, Tyler Stenek.
You got it right, Chauncey.
Close friend. I don't know his last name, but very close.
All right. Tyler, do us a favor and spell your last name.
Zdenek.
Okay, that's understandable.
All right, so I get a break on that one, right?
It's a real doozy. It's a real good way to cut out telemarketers.
That's true, yeah. As soon as they can't pronounce it, you know that
they probably just say, is this Tyler, and then they just hang up.
Is this Tyler?
I'm guessing they start in on your last name and just hang up.
Right. It'd be confusing if your middle name was you still wouldn't know.
Is this Tyler,
I don't want to be mean here, but if I was a telemarketer, I'd be like, no, they made that up.
Yeah, totally.
Well, they probably have it on a list. That's how.
Luckily, all the telemarketers are robots now, so they don't have opinions on these matters.
No,
they'll call me no matter what.
That's true. The funny thing is, my last name is Hallworth, and it's pretty, phonetically spelt. And my first name is, a little more squirrely and difficult for things to pronounce. So I'll get these robocalls.
The E is annoying.
Yeah, I'll get these robocalls that are just all, this is a message for Chauncey Artwork. And like, they don't get my last name, but they nail my first one perfectly.
Well, I don't know. Chauncey's a name.
I guess it is a name. So's Hallworth. It's a town. It's a place.
Yeah, but, you instantly jump to Hayworth. That's like...
I don't see why, though. It's not spelled that way.
No, but... I don't know. When I read your last name, I just skip the Y altogether. We're going to talk about horror movies in a second. But first, last names.
All right. So here's my final telemarketing story. My friend Ben owns Bog Bean Books and Music. When people used to call, his favorite thing to do would be when they called up and said, hi, is Ben Bambauer there? He'd say, hang on a second, let me go get him. And he'd set the phone down and then just go about his business as they sat there for hours.
Yeah, they didn't sit there for hours.
Well,
they hung up after a minute. There was probably a nice break for them.
All right, Tyler. So the first movie that we're going to talk about here is Winchester. We set out to find some movies that are based on true events.
Based on true events.
And, of course, there have been lots of horror movies throughout the years, that are based on true events.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we tried to find some current ones.
Yes.
And so we're all ready to say it, but I'll let Tyler say it first. What'd you think of Winchester?
It was a real disappointment. I mean, the one favorable thing I could say is that, I feel like since Helen Mirren was probably around for the creation of horror movie tropes, the fact that she's now in a film that uses every single one of them is
sort of a showcase.
That's a little ageist.
But
that's a little ageist.
It was not good.
Yeah, no.
It wasn't great. No.
It wasn't.
I honestly thought you were going to stop at creation.
Yeah.
Which is really unfair for Helen Mirren.
Right. Since she is old as dirt. I thought that basically my joke that I told to myself as soon as it started was that damn Helen Mirren. Because it is just like, how does she get connected with
You think
this?
it's a seal of quality that she's in it. You think you're safe when you see her in the credits.
You do.
And then,
so wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
it's a cruel trick.
And another cruel trick of these movies is that on a directing level, like on a visual level, they are so there's such a formula to them. There's all these great filters that people are using that they all cinematically look pretty good. So the movie itself was looked pretty good. It was all kind of dark and well lit and kind of cool and kind of had that sort of when they're showing the city shots, it kind of had that cool sort of fake Spielberg city shot kind of look. So but so many movies have this that you can no longer rely on that when it comes to movies because it's automatic.
No, you can do that with a $1 million budget, or in the case of Winchester, maybe a couple $1,000 budget. I don't know how much money went to Helen Mirren and how much money went to the making of the film.
Yeah, it makes you ask yourself is Helen Mirren crazy, or does she need to fire her agent?
Is that the real psychodrama at play here? We're watching Helen Mirren unravel, and Winchester's just the beginning?
Right.
Well, so you're proposing that this movie was a cry for help?
Well, it might have been.
I mean,
well, here's my
dispute that.
Here's my movie factoid about Apocalypse Now. That scene where Martin Sheen is all drunk and going off about his dad is really him all drunk going off about his dad, and he videotaped it. I mean, they filmed it and they used it in the movie, but that's not actually. Yeah, it was pre-videotaped, 70s. But they actually filmed him freaking out about his dad.
When you go into a movie theater and they pop the cassette in and the grainy footage appears on the screen.
I wish, man, you'd see better movies. It really was. I don't know, kind of a. And plus the guy who starred in it, he was good too. I forget his name now. But he played,
I don't think I actually knew any of the actors other than him.
He played John Connor in
that's
Terminator
where he was from. I couldn't peg it.
Never watched it.
Yeah. And I liked him. I think that he has like a very sort of period piece look. He sort of nails it really well. He definitely pulled off, being a druggie. Or
right.
What did she refer to it?
I think we should.
An abuser of substances.
That was it. Yeah.
That was trope number
abuser
one.
Of medicine? I don't remember.
Yeah, we need a bell to ding for each of the tropes.
Trope number one.
That is a movie that is crying out for a drinking game.
All right.
Just have to say.
Tyler,
go on.
Say it again. Trope number one.
Trope number one.
All right.
There we go.
We have a bell.
Best production values ever.
You might as well just jingle.
Right here on Radio Wasteland.
Totally. You might as well just jingle that one like a reindeer, man.
So, guys,
there's a lot.
Why was this movie so bad? Speaking as horror movie veterans, whereas I am a horror movie amateur.
For starts, I feel like the ghosts weren't even on the scary end of ghostly.
No.
What was our first ghost? He was just a gray guy with funny colored eyes?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, that's where the budget went. Those milky white, contacts. Those don't cost a buck.
All right, we're gonna rip this puppy apart after this commercial break. Come on back, and we'll tell you exactly why Winchester sucked. All right, welcome back to Radio Wasteland, and we're talking about horror movies that are based on real-life events. Totally true, 100% true horror films like Winchester, who we've already just kind of tore into pretty bad. We have our...
We're not done yet, though. It's wounded. You've got to finish it off.
Right.
It's crawling away. It's stumbling down the stairs.
So Kara and I are sitting here talking to Tyler, and we are talking about how much this movie sucked. During the commercial break, Tyler... said that it made him feel like he was watching a prequel to The Conjuring, and that's kind of what I was saying, like, that everything is so formulaic and there's so many filters and stuff. It really did have that look, like they said, like, oh, we want to rip this cinematographer off.
But not the same charm. Not the same charm. John.
No, because that's ultimately where the beginning of the failing of this film is, and that is that the writing is just very contrived.
Yeah.
It is.
There was nothing exciting. And one note that I had made to myself was that if it had been the same movie, but not about the Winchester Mystery House, something that has such a stigma and so much going on to it, if it had just been that movie without all that, it probably would have been a little bit better in my mind. But seeing how it was connected to something where I have an expectation, it really failed.
Well, that and it takes place in all of 4 rooms, so...
Yeah, that's right.
Considering the house is, character unto itself, it's a 4-room character. It's very small compared to, I think, the original Winchester property. Yeah,
exactly. And that's a good point, the house being a character unto itself. That's really kind of the definition of Gothic. And Gothic horror and Gothic romance is that the setting itself is one of the characters, and really, they definitely failed there.
I think a lot of us probably just watched The Haunting of Hill House, so it's interesting to compare and contrast, because they did very successfully what this movie is clearly trying to do, or maybe what it should have been trying to do and just didn't.
They gave the house personality.
Exactly.
I haven't seen that yet. Is there a ghost in it that's capable of telepathically lifting 24 guns at one time? No. Is that part of Haunting of Hill House?
I think that was just Magneto, crouching behind the bookcases.
Yeah, that was totally the Magneto scene.
It just, the last half of the movie, for our listeners, spoilers, it just turns into the X-Men, so...
Right. And
that's what it is.
You're making it sound far too exciting.
Okay, so to stick with the premise of,
that was
of
a
our
cheesy
show,
scene, is what I'm saying.
the reality of Sarah Winchester is that she lived somewhere on the East Coast. She had the fortune. Her husband died. She was a nut job. She came out here. She built this house, and she continued to build the house. And that's really what we know.
Right.
She did the seances and she did the stuff, but her being architecturally driven by the design, we don't know. Actually, her friends say that she was actually pretty stable of mind. And most of the ghost stories that have to do with Winchester actually have happened well after Sarah Winchester.
Right.
And so on a reality level, based on a true story, it was not. And the shooting in the Winchester factory never happened. That wasn't real. These ghosts weren't real. The characters weren't real. None of it was real.
Weren't even real, Chauncey?
No.
Kind of a based on a true story movie is this?
I don't know.
It's based on a true story in the sense that Fargo is based on a true story.
Yeah, or the Blair Witch.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm back on board.
The Blair Witch at least had really good marketing around it.
Yeah.
You know? So did Fargo. Yeah. But so none of
Fargo was a good movie.
Yeah. So I was really sort of disappointed to read that none of this was real. It was basically, to call it based on a true story is really just a brutal fake news. That's some fake news right there.
Yeah.
Now, I am wondering, have either of you read the Winchester graphic novels?
No. Is that a thing?
Okay. Yeah, there's a little 6-part series that's really well done, and the monster in that is more like her own personal mental anguish.
Oh, that's cool.
And, it reminds me much more of that, the Del Toro movie, the recent one.
Oh,
The House That Bleeds Red.
Oh, Crimson Peak.
Yeah, it reminded me more of Crimson Peak.
Yeah, another gothic, great gothic movie, you know. I was obsessed with gothic romance novels. I don't think romance is really, it's a bit of a misnomer. They're basically...
oh, you mean romance in the sense of, like, romantic writers.
Right.
The romantic period.
Right. So it's basically these sort of, all these horror books that are basically have some innocent girl who's sent to some sort of large building, either in an old house or an insane asylum or a church or something, and then crazy stuff goes on.
Post office, a deli, department store.
A deli. So, I was very disappointed, and I'd been to Winchester Mystery House. Have either of you guys ever been there?
I've been there.
Yeah, and it's cool when you're in there, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's neat, and, you know, hearing about Sarah Winchester, like, I would have been perfectly happy just watching a documentary about her inventions, because she's got a lot under her belt.
Yeah, absolutely. And, like, as a guy who sort of makes his living, so... at night, I entertain myself by doing radio, and during the day, I make my living by advertising other people's stuff. As being that guy, I feel that I had more imagination walking through Winchester Mystery House than the movie makers did.
Yeah.
You know, and really it really just brings me back to, how do these actors get stuck in these roles? You know, how does that happen? You know, do they sign on in the beginning and then they're just stuck, and no matter how terrible it goes, you're there?
Multi-part movie deals?
I do not know.
Yeah, that's a good point. So when they're signing, do they sign for like a big movie and a crappy movie?
Maybe.
Or like a risky movie, maybe is a better way to put it. Because
was this a risky movie though? Because every decision they made was as safe as it possibly could have been. That's ultimately why it was bad, really, is because they didn't take any chances with the material.
Well, the big thing in the horror movie scene that they're talking about right now is like the equivalent of the Trump factor. It's the It factor. The movie It was so popular that they're expecting horror movies over the next year to actually get a lot of revenue.
I was not brought up. I looked at the budget, Chauncey. Production budget of $3.5 million. So that's why they made this movie.
So, if you're looking at the budget, did it say what its opening weekend return was?
Opening weekend, not sure, but total worldwide take was 41 million. So.
Holy smokes, I should have invested in that piece
Yeah.
of crap. That's terrible.
No, this profited in the same way Adam Sandler movies profit.
At the expense of all of us.
This is the
Yes.
true horror that we're covering in this show, is the mediocrity of human existence.
I guess I have to address that as well as a horror movie fan. So I feel that every genre, a great movie fulfills all the criteria of every genre, but each genre kind of has its thing that it needs. Drama needs good acting, and a mystery or science fiction needs great writing, and a horror movie needs great imagery. And, there's those movies that transcend all of them, like The Shining has all of those things.
Right.
Yeah.
But this movie, Tyler, you said something that really struck a nerve with me that I was thinking and I wasn't really able to put into words, and that was...
Jared's showing me a thingy. Looks like the opening weekend was 9.3 million.
Jeez, man, what a return. That is just terrible. But we've somehow landed in this world where ghost stories are just showing the ghost standing there. It's like effects have come.
Did nothing.
Yeah, effects have come like such a long way, and they just show the ghost standing there. And it's like, I'm all for practical effects, but let's get something ethereal going on. Let's get something
Is that
psychedelic.
too practical for you, Chelsea?
Yeah, totally.
Making a man gray and giving him glowing contact lenses.
Yeah, in Carnival of Souls or Night of the Living Dead, I'm cool with that. But
In a ghost movie, I do want more though.
I do too. I want.
He
some,
could have turned into smoke.
Right.
There's a lot of windows. Did we even get a window breaking in this film?
No.
I mean, that would be another trope, so pick your poison.
It would be.
Basically,
No, I did find a fun fact, though. I want to tell you guys the worst thing about Winchester. So, according to Wikipedia, Lionsgate bought the film and photography rights to the Winchester Mansion for the film, so now tourists are not allowed to take any pictures of the interior of the mansion because a tourist photo would be in direct competition with a Hollywood movie.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Okay, so this is a travesty against mankind. This movie is an atrocity.
All right, well, we're coming up on a break here, so I'll throw this in. If you're interested in seeing Winchester, save yourself the time and go watch the remake of 13 Ghosts or something.
Right.
It's a better movie. It's still silly and full of all the tropes, but it's just a better movie.
Right.
And young Matthew Lillard. I mean, who can say no to that?
Who can say no to young Matthew Lillard? Ain't that right? All right, you're listening to Radio Wasteland. When we come back, we're going to talk about Veronica.